By the year 2027, which is literally just a few short years from now, tens of millions of jobs across the world are expected to disappear. And they're not going to fade away slowly. Economists are looking at the data and they're realizing that entire professions could vanish almost overnight. The truly terrifying part? Most of the people doing those jobs right now have absolutely no idea it's coming. I want you to ask yourself this question right now. Somewhere out there at this exact moment is a company training an artificial intelligence to do your job. It's a real seed of dread, isn't it? It's starting to plant itself in the minds of professionals everywhere. Because the reality is, we are sitting on the edge of a massive shift. So in this explainer, we're going to look at the 5 jobs sitting closest to that edge. Some of them might surprise you, and, well, one of them might even be yours. You know, when most people think of automation, they picture physical robots with metal arms working on an assembly line. But that's not what's coming for the modern workforce. What's coming is something quieter and far more dangerous. It's silent software, running in the background, capable of wiping out entire professions before we even realize what's actually happening. Okay, let's dive into this. This isn't just speculation or science fiction. Major research groups like the World Economic Forum, Forrester, and MIT have all been analyzing this exact shift. They've put out these comprehensive reports looking at which jobs will survive the AI revolution and which ones simply won't. And the numbers they're finding are absolutely staggering. We're looking at tens of millions of roles projected to disappear worldwide. Now, will new jobs be created? Yes, for sure, but at a much, much slower pace. That staggering gap between the jobs lost and the jobs created, that's where the real story is. Section 1. The automation of repetition, jobs 5 and 4. These are the quiet background jobs built entirely on predictable patterns. Coming in at job number 5, we have data entry and administrative clerks. This is a quiet disappearance happening in the background of almost every single company on Earth. Think about the nature of this work for a second. Bookkeeping assistants, payroll clerks, compliance form processors, every single invoice processed, every form filed, every spreadsheet updated by hand. These tasks are built entirely out of patterns. And if there is one thing artificial intelligence was explicitly designed to conquer, it's recognizing and processing patterns. These roles are already shrinking, and the projections show that decline accelerating hard before 2027. But here's the most unsettling part about the decline of the administrative clerk. Most of these workers won't even see the end coming. I mean, it's not going to be announced as some massive AI replacement initiative. Instead, it'll just look like standard corporate restructuring. They'll call it efficiency or automation upgrades. The job won't be declared dead. The listings for it will just quietly stop being posted. Let's move to and see how this builds, because job number 4 hits a lot closer to home for millions of people who talk to strangers for a living, customer support and call center agents. Now, if you've called a company recently and felt like you were talking to a voice that was just slightly too polished, too fast, or too perfect, you probably were. AI voice agents and chat systems are already answering millions of customer calls every single day. Tier 1 support, the reservation lines, the help desks, those press 1 for this menus, they're actively being rebuilt around systems that never sleep, never take breaks, and definitely never need a paycheck. Demand for traditional customer service roles is projected to just keep declining year over year. And the twist here is that this pivot isn't just about companies cutting costs. It's about pure, unmatched speed. Look at the sheer difference in scale here. On average, it takes a human agent several minutes to pull up an account, understand a complaint, and actually resolve an issue. But an AI agent, it can do all of that, fully resolving a complaint in just 9 seconds. So the crucial point is this number right here, 9 seconds. Humans are up against an impossible standard here. In a modern corporate world that is absolutely obsessed with efficiency, minutes will always lose to seconds. Always. Section 2. The replacement of volume and presence. Jobs 3 and 2. This next group is where things start to feel highly personal, because AI is invading spaces we traditionally consider uniquely human, specifically creative writing and face-to-face interactions. Job number 3 is high-volume content writers. Now, let's be clear, we aren't talking about novelists or investigative journalists breaking real stories here. We're talking about the mass-market content machine. SEO blog posts, product descriptions, social media captions. This is one of the most vulnerable categories in the entire creative economy. Why? Because this specific tier of writing was never really about true original creativity. It was always about volume. It was built to be produced fast, cheap, and at scale. And volume is exactly where artificial intelligence absolutely dominates. I really want to pause on this for a second because this is vital. The disappearance of thousands of entry-level writing jobs isn't some abstract future prediction. It's happening right now, actively, while you sit here watching this explainer. The exact jobs that fresh graduates used to rely on to break into media and marketing are shrinking faster than almost any other category. But job number 2 isn't about who gets replaced at a keyboard. It's about physical spaces. Job 2 is retail and in-store sales associates. I want you to imagine walking into your favorite big box store just 5 years from now. There is a very real chance that the first thing helping you isn't a person at all. You'll be greeted by a screen, a scanner, or a highly responsive synthetic voice. Think about it. Cashiers, floor associates, even door-to-door sales reps rely heavily on repeatable, predictable interactions. Greet, assist, check out, repeat. And as we've learned, repeatable interactions are the easiest things in the world to automate. And this brilliantly illustrates the real impact. When you look at the data, retail faces the heaviest wave of automation. Notice the massive disparity here. Retail roles are projected to be hit almost twice as hard as the average sector. Millions of these roles exist worldwide, and they are squarely in the crosshairs. The truly frightening part about retail isn't just that the jobs will disappear. It's the terrifying speed at which they can vanish. Once the technology is proven, companies can flip the switch instantly. It starts with one pilot store. If they have one successful quarter using AI-driven retail, 1,000 other locations will follow suit in a matter of months. Not years, months. Millions of jobs can be wiped out incredibly fast. Section 3. The missing ladder. Job 1. This brings us to the climax of our countdown. The job almost nobody is actively warning you about. Job number 1 is entry-level knowledge workers. We are talking about the junior analysts, the junior researchers, and the young administrative professionals who make up the very first rung of the corporate ladder. This is the exact group in the crosshairs today. Some data already shows entry-level corporate hiring is down by double digits in just a single year, with AI directly cited as the primary factor. Here's why job number 1 is so different from the rest, and why it's arguably the most dangerous shift of all. Every other job we've covered today replaces a specific task, but this one replaces a pathway. If companies use AI to do all of their junior-level work, the entire foundation for starting a professional career begins to collapse. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the traditional progression. Junior research leads to a mid-level role, which leads to a senior executive position. Standard, right? But if companies get a machine to do that first step of junior research and writing, why would they ever hire, train, and mentor a 22-year-old recent graduate to do it instead? If those bottom rungs disappear, we're left with a massive mystery. How does the next generation ever get a start? How do you become a senior executive if you can never get your foot in the door as a junior analyst? Whether this rolls in slowly or crashes in overnight, the corporate ladder is fundamentally changing. Section 4. How to survive 2027. Okay, we can't just look at the cautionary fear here. We need to focus on what you can proactively do right now. If 5 major job categories can shrink or entirely disappear within a few short years, the core takeaway is pretty clear. The real skill of the next decade isn't just knowing something. It's adapting faster than the machine can learn your job. The workers who survive this incredible shift in human history won't necessarily be the smartest in the room. They'll be the ones who saw this coming, prepared early, and moved first, while everyone else waited for a headline to tell them it was happening. Which brings us to the end of today's explainer and leaves you with one final, deeply personal question to reflect on. Out of these 5 vanishing jobs we discussed today, which one hit closest to home for you? Take a hard look at your own career, stay adaptable, and most importantly, stay one step ahead of the machine.